Hello everyone and welcome to your guide for the Academy Awards. I wanted to condense this all into one video so that you just have one thing that you have to go to for everything you need to know this weekend. Some people don't really care about the Oscars, but I do, so I wanted to go through each of the categories here before the award ceremony on Sunday. A quick note, I'm not going to be covering the documentaries or the short films simply because I know nothing about the films and I haven't seen them myself. But I'm covering everything else here, so let's go ahead and get started with probably the biggest slam dunk of the night. The nominees for Best Supporting Actor this year are Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans, Barry Keoghan for The Banshees of Inisherin, and then Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. This one, I don't have to spend a lot of time with. It's Ke Huy Quan. He's won every single award on the circuit so far. This is the biggest slam dunk of the night. If you're someone that puts money on stuff, but just bet the house on Ke Huy Quan. If anyone in this category has an outside chance of winning, it's Brendan Gleeson, but with that being said, Ke Huy Quan's going to win. Moving now on to the next category. This one is also a bit of a slam dunk. The nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and then Top Gun Maverick. It's Avatar: The Way of Water. I know some people don't like the movie. I personally really enjoy it. But I mean, it did stuff in that film that no other movie has ever done before, visual effects wise. A big reason why people went out to go see this in droves is to witness the visual effects, to go to Pandora again. And that's not saying that other movies in this category aren't great with visual effects. I mean, Top Gun Maverick was incredible to watch. The Batman really felt realistic, along with All Quiet on the Western Front. I could throw it into that category as well. And then if I'm being honest, I wasn't a huge fan of a lot of the effects of Wakanda Forever simply because we didn't get to see a lot of it. It was either at night or they did close-ups of people's faces, but that is beside the point. It's Avatar: The Way of Water here, you guys. Alright, Best Animated Feature Film. The nominees are Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red. It seems like it's gonna go to Pinocchio. It's gone on and it's won like every instance of this category across the award circuit. If I had to pick one personally, I think that Turning Red was the best movie in this category. I know that's a bit of a hot take, but I feel like the biggest detriment to this movie is it was released straight to Disney Plus, whereas if it was released into theaters, I think more people would be loving on it. I really liked Pinocchio, and I think the biggest argument for it is it did an animation style that none of these other films did this year. Except maybe Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. It's a new style on an old fairy tale that we all know, and you have to respect the filmmakers here for giving us the same story that we've seen before, but making it wholly unique. The nominees for Best Sound are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Elvis, and Top Gun Maverick. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not a huge expert whenever it comes to this category, but whenever I think of Best Sound, I think of what film mixed all of its sound elements the best way. And to me in this category, that's probably Top Gun Maverick. Again, I'm not a technical expert on this. That's just my opinion on here. Maybe I'm dead wrong, but if Top Gun Maverick wins an award tonight, then I do know what I'm talking about, apparently. Alright, the screenplay categories. Best Original Screenplay, the nominees are The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. Now, I am adamant that I think The Banshees of Inisherin is the best screenplay of the year. But it's going to be interesting to see what the writers branch of the Academy does in this category, because it looks like Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to win a lot of awards. So if it goes on and wins Best Director, Best Picture, will they give it screenplay as well? Will they award Martin McDonagh for his work on The Banshees of Inisherin if it's not getting anything else? But then you also have to take into account Tar, which the Academy loved, as well as The Fabelmans, which is a Steven Spielberg picture. But then also Triangle of Sadness won the Palme d'Or, so maybe it'll get a lot of Academy love. This one is kind of a toss-up for me. If I had to lean in one direction, I would still go with The Banshees of Inisherin personally, but I would not be surprised to see maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once win this. But then we got Best Adapted Screenplay, and in this category we have All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion and Knives Out Story, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. This one is going to be hard for me to talk about as well because I have not seen Women Talking, I have not seen Living. But what I do know is there is an omission in this category, and that is The Whale. The Whale was going to be the biggest competition for Women Talking here, and it didn't even get a nomination. For me, that means that Women Talking is very likely going to win in this category. Now, All Quiet on the Western Front, I've said that name a lot so far this video. The Academy loves that film, so it may end up going in that film's direction. I love Top Gun Maverick, but I mean, for screenplay, I don't think it should win this personally. Glass Onion is a very well-written film, but for me, based off of the ones that I've seen here, I would take All Quiet over it. But you know what? I'm going to play with the odds here. I think Women Talking is probably going to win this, especially since it also got a Best Picture nod. It didn't get nominated for like 20 awards. Not like there are 20 categories for this. But it didn't get nominated for a whole lot, but it's nominated for Best Picture, so I feel like it is probably going to end up winning Best Adapted Screenplay on Sunday. Now back to the acting categories. We got Best Supporting Actress here, and the nominees are Angela Bassett for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Hong Chow for The Whale, Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. This one is actually pretty hard. Angela Bassett has won a ton of awards in this category, but Jamie Lee Curtis actually won at the SAG Awards. All the while, Carrie Condon has gotten nominated everywhere, so we can't count her out either. Not to mention that Carrie Condon actually won the BAFTA for this. This is a really hard category, y'all. I think it's not going to Hong Chow. It's not going to Stephanie Hsu simply because they don't have any wins under their belt. I don't think it's going to go to Jamie Lee Curtis. The biggest argument for her is the one award she did win was the SAG Awards, which is acting, and the people voting on this is the acting branch. But with that being said, sometimes the SAG Awards award actors that they like. I mean, Emily Blunt won for A Quiet Place back in 2019. But, you know, you have to take that stuff into account. Oh, God, this is hard. I think at the end of the day, and a lot of you probably won't agree with me on this, The Banshees of Inisherin has a ton of nominations, and Carrie Condon has that BAFTA win. I realize Angela Bassett has won a ton in this category, but I just have that feeling that Carrie Condon is going to pull off the upset here and walk away with an Oscar. Like, I just have a feeling in my gut about this thing, y'all. The Banshees of Inisherin has a ton of nominations. They're going to want to award it in some way. It could be in this category, so that's my official prediction. I think it's going to be Carrie Condon on Sunday. The best costume design, we got Babylon, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. I'll be fully transparent, I have not seen the Mrs. Harris movie, but I know that it's about fashion, so, you know, that always has to be a contender with this. Now, Black Panther won in this category a few years ago. I'm not going to rock the boat here. I think it's going to win this as well, and it should, honestly. The costumes in that movie are really creative. They're very different from anything else in this category, and I feel like there's really not much more to say. Ruth Carter's going to pick up her second Oscar. If someone else were to win, maybe Elvis, just because, you know, you had to recreate all of the old Elvis outfits, but with that being said, they kind of had a template. Black Panther doesn't have that. I guess you want to count the comics, you can. But yeah. Now on to one of my favorite categories of the night. We got Best Cinematography, and in this category we have All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardo, Elvis, Empire of Light, and Tar. And for me, this is a slam dunk as well. I would hammer All Quiet on the Western Front here. Incredibly shot movie here. Oh my God, who's the cinematographer? James Friend is a genius. I think there's an argument here for Tar as well, but for me, All Quiet was just simply the best shot movie of the year. The cinematography of the movie just added to the dread that you feel, but also the hope that you're going to make it out okay with these characters here in the end. Absolutely incredibly shot movie. I really hope it goes to All Quiet. If it doesn't, I might be a little upset. Another fun category coming up. We got Best Original Song, and in this category we have Applause from Tell It Like a Woman, Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick, Lift Me Up from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Not To from RRR, and This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I know that there are a lot of people that watch this channel that are big fans of RRR, so let me come out of the gate and say I think it's going to win. Hold My Hand by Lady Gaga from Top Gun Maverick was on my heavy rotation throughout all of last year, but I heard someone present the argument as to why Not To should win. win, and that's because it actually has a role to play in the movie. Hold My Hand and Lift Me Up are two songs that play at the very end of the movie into the credits, and they're really well-made songs. They're great songs, but Not To is a focal point of that movie. It is a huge musical number. Plus, it's super catchy, too. I mean, that song was stuck in my head for a couple of weeks after I saw RRR. Plus, Not To has the wins. I'm gonna give it to Not To here, but if Hold My Hand won, I would not be complaining. Now, staying along the theme of music, I'm gonna cover Best Original Score now, and the nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Fabelmans. Now, I didn't really enjoy Babylon, the movie, but I gotta say, it had a great score. I can still think of the score whenever I think of this category, whereas the other ones, not really so much. Justin Hurwitz is just an expert at scoring a film, and honestly, the score and maybe the cinematography as well was the best part of Babylon. I gotta give it to that movie. But with that being said, I really enjoyed the score for Banshees of Inisherin as well. I think that really added to the movie, so I could very well see that winning. John Williams being nominated, he's always going to be a contender as well for The Fabelmans. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Babylon. I think that's going to win. Okay, now, Best Actor. The nominees are Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for Aftersun, and Bill Nighy for Living. This one is going to be interesting, folks, because I don't know who it's going to go to. To me now, it was a 3-horse race, but now it's a 2-horse race between Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser. Both have won their fair share of awards in this category. I truly don't know who's going to win. For a while, I thought that Colin Farrell might possibly get this as an outsider's chance. It's probably the best performance of his career in Banshees, but Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser, they've just been getting all the wins, man. I think it's between those two. I'm a big lover of Paul Mescal's performance in Aftersun. It's one of my favorite performances of the year, but honestly, he doesn't have a chance of winning. And then I didn't watch Bill Nighy in Living, unfortunately, so I can't really speak to his performance. But you know what? Man, it's so hard to put my neck out in this category. I really feel like it could go to Butler, or it could go to Fraser. Oh God, this is hard. I'm going to lean Fraser simply because he has had a longer career. And he was the initial front runner in this category, so I feel like some people may defer to him. But with that being said, if Austin Butler won on Sunday, I wouldn't be heavily surprised, and he would deserve it. I'd be totally cool with that. Who would I give it to? Probably Brendan Fraser, honestly. Alright, Best Makeup and Hairstyling. We have All Quiet on the Western Front, The Batman, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Elvis, and The Whale. And to me, it's probably between Elvis and The Whale. With The Whale, the one thing is it's really nominated here because of how they made Brendan Fraser look, which is heavily impressive, but I'm not sure if being known for one thing is going to be enough to win here. We've seen it in the past, of course, but I just don't know. Elvis, on the other hand, they had to make up Austin Butler to look like him throughout multiple points of his life, so that is heavily impressive as well. And then, say what you will about Tom Hanks' performance, but they gave him the fat suit and stuff. They made him look like the Colonel, so, you can't knock the makeup and the hairstyling departments here. They did a good job there. The Tom Hanks performance, it's difficult to predict this one, but I'm going to lean towards The Whale because of how convincing they made Brendan Fraser look in that role. Okay, on to another interesting category. We have Best Production Design with All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon, Elvis, and The Fabelmans. This is another one of those categories where I'm not going to pretend to be the expert on here, but I feel like for production design, the ones that I was most impressed by were All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, and Elvis. I just find myself more and more impressed with the production design of Elvis because of the way that Baz Luhrmann directs. It's very scattered. There's a lot going on, so the production design team had a lot they had to do here with this movie to make it good. But then at the same time, the production design of Avatar is insane because someone had to basically create this area of Pandora. In fact, the more that I think about it, I think it's probably going to go to Avatar: The Way of Water. Yeah, they basically had to start from nothing, aside from, segments from the first movie in some parts, but for the most part, it was from scratch. So yeah, I'm going to have to go with Avatar: The Way of Water on this one. All right, this is a huge category here, regardless if the Academy Awards decide to announce it during a commercial break again. Best Film Editing, y'all. The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. This one is gonna be a squeaker. I have to say, it is impressive the way that Baz Luhrmann edits his movies. I realize that he's not the accredited editor here, but his editing team, it's interesting how they edit movies because it is just all over the place. It's wholly unique. You have to respect it. I love the way Everything Everywhere All at Once is edited. Getting the job to edit that movie sounds like an impossible task, so I have all the respect in the world for that team. But then I would hate to not talk about Top Gun Maverick and the way that film was edited. Just think, you never doubted for a second where those planes were. You knew the mission, and they perfectly edited that movie to make you feel like you were in the plane on the mission, while also you knowing exactly where the plane was. And I mean, that is just really impressive whenever a movie can do that. But then at the same time, the pacing of Banshees as well as Tar is so impressive because those, I guess, would be labeled as slow burn movies compared to these other three. So very, very different editing style, but really important too because they have to keep you hooked in. This is a really hard one to pick, but I'm going to go with Everything Everywhere All at Once simply because I have no idea where that team would even start with that movie, and they made it one of the best movies of the year. So yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once for Best Film Editing, but let's talk about Best Actress now. The nominees are Cate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for Blonde, Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and then Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And for the longest time, I thought that this was a slam dunk category as well, going to Cate Blanchett for Tar. It's one of the best performances of the year. It's her best performance of her entire career, I believe. And so whenever you have one of the GOATs at acting, Cate Blanchett, delivering you her best performance, she's already got 2 Oscars. I don't see how you don't give it to her. But Michelle Yeoh won the SAG Award, okay? That's really, really important. And for the longest time, she has been the number 2 person in this category. So she didn't come out of nowhere. She's been there the entire time. The Academy loves Michelle Williams, or I guess the acting branch loves Michelle Williams. They may want to reward her here. They may see it as Cate Blanchett has already won 2. Let's give Michelle Yeoh 1. We don't know if she's going to be back here. This is really hard. I'll come out and say I don't think the other 3 stand a chance here. I think it's a 2-horse race. I'm going to go with Cate Blanchett, but if Michelle Yeoh wins, I will be a happy camper. For Best Director, we have Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, The Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. And I'm going to defer to my same argument I have for Best Film Editing. I don't understand where the Daniels started with Everything Everywhere All at Once, or how they made this scattered, insane, crazy movie so good, and also to the point where it has just gotten all the Academy attention several months after it came out. This movie came out in April, y'all. Typically, an Academy Award level movie will come out in November or December or so that it's top of mind for the Academy. But Everything Everywhere All at Once just never went away. It's that good of a movie, and it is the most crazy one out of anything else in this category here. I've got to give it to Daniels. If the Academy gives it to anyone else, I would say Martin McDonagh, because I think his movie has a better chance of winning Best Picture across the other nominees here other than Daniels. Okay, we finally made it. This is the big one, y'all. Best Picture. We have All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. Okay, yeah, this is a loaded category here, but I think that there are 3 movies that stand a real legitimate chance at winning this thing, and that is All Quiet on the Western Front, The Banshees of Inisherin, and Everything Everywhere All at Once. And that's with all due respect to the other nominees. All of them are great movies. Well, I haven't seen Women Talking, but I'm sure it's great. For me, the reason why I picked those 3 is because all of the momentum is in favor of something like Banshees of Inisherin or Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then All Quiet on the Western Front is nominated for a load of categories here, and it won Best Film at BAFTA. I realize it's a European movie, and it's already going to win Best International Feature Film, so maybe that's just where they acknowledge it in this category. But, you know, I gotta say, I don't think that it's a bottom tier Best Picture nominated movie here. I think that it has a real chance to win. But ultimately, I think it's going to come down to Banshees or Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I'm going to lean towards Everything Everywhere All at Once. And it's like I said for director, this movie has been all over the place since it came out in April, y'all. That is not normal for a movie to come out in April and then stay its welcome in the awards conversation all the way to basically a year later. It's incredibly impressive what they pulled off with this movie. They made a heartfelt, weird, comedic, dramatic film with incredible performances. So many sectors here that were involved with this movie all came together to do the best work of their careers. It gave us Michelle Yeoh in an Academy Award nominated, possibly winning performance. It brought back Ke Huy Quan, who hadn't acted in like 30 years or so. It really swung for the fences and it hit it out of the park. I think it's going to go to Everything Everywhere All at Once. All right, so those are my final predictions and a sort of breakdown of the categories for the Academy Awards on Sunday, y'all. I am really excited. I look forward to the Oscars every year. Hopefully you're excited too. Have fun watching it this weekend, and thank you so much for watching the video up to this point. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.